start my Pecha Kucha, I started the semester in resulting with 4.3 Earths and projected date to be March 25th. For my first topic, I will be talking about halogen greenhouse gases. Also known as F-gases, they're commonly used in applications like AC and refrigeration, man-made industrial gases containing fluorine. They replace ozone-depleting substances and potent greenhouse gases, all contribute to climate change. My next topic is carbon pricing. And some simple ways to better our Earth is reducing our energy usage, turning off the lights, carpooling, smart food choices, and repairing instead of replacing all affects our carbon price emissions. In class, we also talked about mitigation versus adaptation. Neither mitigation or adaptation is the direct key to our better future, but both together are necessary for a better environmental future. Mitigation aims to reduce greenhouse gases emissions, while adaptation is essential to address the unavoidable effects of climate change. In America, a sustainable American birth rate is 2.1 to replenish and replace to grow back efficiently. Currently at 1.7, birth rates influence population size and resource demand, increase resource depletion, pollution, and habitat loss. We talked about how Earth has finite resources and contributes to environmental problems like driving pollution, habitat destruction, and climate change through extraction and consumption. Fossil fuel resources are used fast, but we can't regenerate fast. Another key thing we talked about in class is the red list. It is a crucial tool for conservation by assessing the extinction risk of species based on population size and habitat loss, which is used by governments and conservation organizations. Also talked about in class, similar to the red list, is CITES, most commonly known as Convention of International Trade in Endangered Species. It's a global treaty to ensure legal, sustainable, and tracing international trade of wild animals and plants. My next topic is direct versus indirect management. Direct management involves control and influence over the cause and effect, while indirect management has influence but no direct control over the source or outcome. Indigenous people in North America used to use indirect management for natural resources. Next, I'll be talking about reintroducing wolves into the national park. We talked about how they restored natural ecological balance by controlling prey population, which allows for vegetation to grow and regenerate, which ultimately boosts biodiversity and benefits other species. Next, I'll talk about coexistence wildlife management. It is about making safe, practical, and fair ways for humans to share the environment with the wildlife. Humans and wildlife are closer than ever before. Palm oil. Palm oil indirectly harms humans because of the farming of the oil. It leads to deforestation and air pollution, which in return we get respiratory problems, loss of clean water, and increased climate change impacts. Biodiversity. Today, threats to biodiversity comes from humans' activities, such as destroying habitats directly, climate change, pollute ecosystems, overuse of resources, invasive species, and disease spread. These are all threats to biodiversity. Next, DDT. In some cases, DDT can lead to affect local communities by posing health risks. Contaminating food and water can pose economic challenges, also can reduce trust and safety of communities, overall damaging ecosystems. Carbon footprint. Overall, carbon footprint is the usage of less energy. Some simple ways you can improve are traveling wisely, eating and drinking smart, reducing waste, only buying what you need, and simply using less energy and electricity than needed. We also talked about Indigenous versus Western. Indigenous people see humans as part of nature with the knowledge based on lived experience and deep observations, while Western views humans separately or in control of nature through scientific methods and formal research. A significant person we talked about this semester is Paul Ehrlich. He is important because it shows how population, consumption, and technology can determine humanity's footprint, to know causes and problems towards paths of solutions. Next, carbon sink. Effects of carbon sink is essential to absorbing CO2, protecting ecosystems and slowing climate change. But when degraded, climate impacts worsen. Biodiversity declines and human communities have greater environmental risks. Similar to the Red List and CITES, the ESA Act of 1973 impacts the environment by saving species extinction, attempting to restore ecosystems, protecting habitats, and maintaining healthy biodiversity. Specifically, we talked on gray wolf reintroduction and bald eagle recovery. Lastly, as seen, the more developed a country is, the lower the birth rate while population remains. Also, in more developed countries, school quality, supportive policies, and equal opportunities to higher studies are available. As nations develop, women's education is a driving force towards progress. After my studies, change, and reflection, this ES class has strengthened my environmentally beneficial practices, as seen as a result of my post-course survey.